what's it called? Cucumber uses this format. It always puts its tests, its use cases, in a folder called features. In this features folder, there are any number of files ending with the file extension feature, which will be picked up by Cucumber, the command line tool, parsed and executed. Let's stop talking and let's write a use case. I'm going to add a file here. I'm going to call it bowling. Maybe I'll call it something cool like 10-pin bowling dot feature. Okay, so we have a feature. This is what a template of a feature looks. You say, here it says, sales assistant should be able to blah blah blah. So the law, lots of like happy talk here, all about like not related to our execution at all. And then it has an actual use case scenario. Jeff returns a faulty microwave. Given that Jeff has bought, yeah, you can read, and he has a receipt. When he returns the microwave, then Jeff should be refunded £100. This we can map into executable code. However, this is not the example we are going to do. We are going to do a 10-pin bowling score calculator. We could write the use case here, but it doesn't really matter, right? You know, as a developer implementing a game, I want to record the roles and number of pins not down. Why? So that I can get the final score, right? The computer will not care about this. This is simply a memo for us, but it's in the same file. It's understandable both to the customer and to the developer, and it's pretty clear, right? This is what our goal is. Okay, so let's take a scenario. When we do test-driven development, we always start with the edge cases, like the most, the worst or the best example first, or the simplest case. Can you think of the most simplest game of bowling ever with as few calculations as possible?
Maybe 10 misses.
10 misses.
Yeah.
Well, yes. So let's talk about the rules, the terminology of in English language. Again, in real life, I have to speak to the customer and I have to learn what language he uses. If the customer is a bowling player, he will say, well, in a game of 10-pin bowling, there are 10 frames in the game. You know the scorecard for what a bowling scorecard looks like. Are you all familiar with it? I guess so. Scorecard, yeah. But essentially, it looks something like this. There are 10 frames in the game. Each frame, you get 2 rolls. You have 2 chances to knock down 10 pins. The pins are the white, annoying guys that you need to knock down. For each roll, you can knock down all of them, in which case you get a strike, here marked with a cross. You can get a spare, which is you knock down all 10 of them in the same frame. Or you just knock down a few of them, which you will get the points for each pin you knock down, or you can knock down none. So a game of 0 would be 10 frames, 2 rolls in each frame, with 0 pins knocked down, right? So let's write that use case. Scenario. On the side of the bowling alley, there are 2 gutters. So this game would typically be a pretty ruined game, would be a gutter game. Scenario would be a gutter game. We can find this out by talking to the end user, right? Use his terminology all the time. So, given that a new game has started, when the player rolls, how many times?
20?
No, yeah, rolls 20 actually times when the player hits the 0 pins. When the hit player rolls 0, yeah, something like that. When the player, what do you call it in English? Sorry, I've got it. When you roll
Hit?
yeah. Okay. Well, when the player hits 0 pins 20 times, then the score should be
0.
Okay, cool. Let's run the test. So I'm going to use a tool here called Node.js, which will allow me to execute a program, which is this program. And let's see, is there anything else I need to write? Maybe not. Yep. Okay. So that didn't work, unfortunately. Cucumber complains here. It says, "Whoa! You see, it found the feature. It found the scenario, and it tried to execute it. Given that this step, given that step defined in this file on line 7, it's undefined. Implement with the following snippet." Okay, so I guess we're going to have to implement the code, which will translate this human language requirement into computer code. So for this, we have a folder called step definitions. Let's see. Some guy apparently has already made an example here. That's good because it requires a little bit of glue code in the Node version of Cucumber to make all of this work. But ignore the code that is already here. I just pasted. Given that a new game has started, those of you who are familiar with JavaScript code and callbacks can already start to tease out the pattern that we use here. We essentially have some sort of method given, and we pass in some sort of string, which obviously the parser matches in the features file. And when that happens, our callback function here gets called, and we get passed a callback which we can call with some sort of status. I just saved the file, so let's see. Let's run that again. Now it says, okay, now this one is pending. We're gonna have to copy the other two as well. Let's see if I can get what's wrong with my selection. We're going to have to copy these steps in too. These are pending. We will implement them shortly. Please stay for a few seconds while I copy paste this. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay, it was looking better, right? Now we know that everything is in place. But the first step, given that a new game has started, is pending. Okay, so we're going to have to implement this. First, we don't need to do this asynchronously, so I'm going to delete the callback steps here. How do we know that a new game has started? Well, if I was a programmer, this object in this case is the test, the scenario in progress. So I can add a property to it called game, and I can say new bowling game, right? That makes sense. Okay, so we get forwarded. Oh, we haven't not written a bowling game yet. Okay, so how do we get the bowling game? Any suggestions? Let's import it here. Let's import it here or something. Let's say that we had a constant called bowling game, which was file // bowling game. Actually, the naming convention is underscore, so do like that. Okay, well, okay, now we can't find the module bowling game, of course not. I'm gonna add the file here, new file, bowling game.js. Okay, we have a file. We get any further, cannot find the module. Oh, is it really true? Let's restart this. Cannot find module. Why can it not find module? Module exports. Let's do a little housekeeping here, like use strict, stuff like this.
There's a typo in your file here.
Who?
You typed bowling, not bowling.
Yes.
You're missing an N.
Where?
No, you bowling.js, you're missing the N.
Bowling. What bowling? Yeah, bowling. That's very, very good. Okay, it's not a constructor. Yeah, that's a step forward. Let's make it a constructor, shall we? Let's export a class. Maybe we can call it bowling game. Ta-da! Oof, okay. First step passes. It's green. We're already making progress. Let's go to the next one. When the player hits 0 pins 20 times, hits. Well, it's not about hitting them. He has to actually knock them over, right? I can hear the ambiguity is leaking out here. When the player knocks over or knocks down 0 pins 20 times. Okay, I'm gonna have to change the formulation here in the step though, so it matches when the player moves down pins. You see it? Sorry? When? Oh yeah, that's very good. Very good. Okay, so let's see here. What happened? Pending, crashing. What does it returns pending in the step? Yeah, it does because I'm returning pending here. And I told you before, I'm not going to use the callback feature. I'm going to write synchronous tests. It's much easier. When the player knocks down 0, so now the step passes, but obviously it passes because it's empty. We need to do what does it mean? As you can see, Cucumber identified the numbers automatically and said here, well, this is kind of like a simplified regular expression syntax which Cucumber uses. The language, the parser that Cucumber uses is called Gherkin, which is a kind of small cucumber, isn't it? Yeah, that's very funny. It's very funny in English. Ha ha. So this is normal Gherkin syntax. Argument 1 knocks down, well, you know, we should name things for what they are. Number of pins, and pins times, right? Then we get here, I should number of pins times. Okay. So then we can use these two. Let's see, no, let's not do 4. Any suggestions? While true, what the heck? While times minus is less than is greater than 0. Yeah. Then do that's you know I always do an off by 1 error. So like every time I always do like something like this. Even though I know what I'm doing. Just, well, now I have a reference every time. It's not defined time. No, not time. Times. You see, I should be. Okay, so we count down from 90 to 0. Obviously, that's 20. So no off by 1 errors. I've only been like a programmer for 17 years or something, and I still have like issues like this. Like, you know, you better be safe. I'm sorry. Have to check it. So each time that happens, we take the game that we prepared, this game, and what do we do with it? Well, we said we would knock down, so we make a roll, right? We roll, and how many pins do we knock down in the roll? 0. Yeah, okay, so we call rolls 20 times. Oh, when it fails, because roll is not a function. That was unexpected, wasn't it? Okay, so let's implement a roll function here. For those of you who are trained in classical JavaScript, such as my friend Georgie here, this class syntax is basically just syntactic sugarcoating. It's under the hood. You get an old JavaScript function with an old JavaScript prototype assigned to it with a constructor prototype. Everything just like you would expect. And when I write like this, it's exactly the same thing as writing a property name and then function property name blah blah blah. This is the same thing. This is just a shortcut. So it's an instance method. Role, and we have to receive number of pins, right?